Hey, Nation, back with Josh at LA Creative. Someone I really miss, man. I really enjoy going to the Continuum conferences with you and heckling you from the audience. Has that
Man,
been 2 years in Pittsburgh? Two,
it was Vegas and Pittsburgh.
yeah, yeah. I saw you in the one in Pittsburgh, and
Last year was on the
oh,
internet.
Vegas too. Yep, yeah, yeah. So hopefully they're coming back. And I think there's pent up demand for events. I know I'm chomping at the bit to get out and get out these virtual backgrounds. Although yours is a real background. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, sir, what's news, man? What's going on? You've been doing some biz dev, and you also have some insights into a Microsoft product.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on the biz dev side, I mean, I'm gonna guess it and hope that I'm not the only one watching here, where it certainly seems like the projects are coming back, the interest is coming back, and I think one of my oldest clients, I've been with them for about a decade. They're a startup that I've overseen IT for, from 15 people to 1,000, and something really interesting happened, and I think it speaks to something that everyone here would do good to focus on. So we went through a time, when I met them 10 years ago, I didn't know a cybersecurity from a printer, hardly. But certainly over the years, I've had to learn a lot. Any MSP, I mean, basically, we've all become cybersecurity practitioners, whether we want to
Yeah,
or not at this
one
point.
way
But
or another. Yep.
something that I worked on with them is, we put up a spec for security for them back in 2016 that was firewalls and somewhat of a next gen antivirus, I guess, but that's so far removed now from what is a real cybersecurity program. And starting 3.5 years ago, I have been begging and pleading and educating and doing whatever possible to get them to say, hey, maybe we need some more security. Right there, they are in an industry which is really prone to business email compromise and wire fraud and reputation damage. And I went in, I did a cybersecurity awareness training for their staff. We've done things here and there, but mostly it's been me bringing stuff up and them saying, sounds great, no budget. And the nice part about that is I set myself up as someone who understands security. So now, 1,000-person company, national footprint, international really, and they hired a new president who's sitting between operations and management. And she came from a company which had seen a devastating ransomware attack. And she said, we need to talk about security right now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the point I want to make for the nation here. If I hadn't been bugging them about that, they would have thought I didn't know about it and looked somewhere else. And because I had sort of set myself up as that resource, they had us perform a pen test on their infrastructure. We found a lot of issues. And, something that I was able to do was present that in a very educational way to them, not in a scare tactic way, but here's what I found. And here's stories that sort of have come up in other environments or in the news, or because I've known them for a decade in your environment, right? And they were really impressed. And so we're looking at some security packages now, and you can all cross your fingers for me, but just even being invited as that resource to present to a company of that size and stature, and to sort of have them engaged, listening, asking questions, learning, it was a really great experience. And, anyone out there, I think it's really time to move from network assessments to like actionable, relatable, understandable security assessments.
Yeah, and I'll come back at you with your consistency in biz dev, and I've been preaching that since the beginning, and that's the one thing I am. I'm a good base hitter,
Yeah.
And then every now and then we get a home run,
Yeah.
right? But I'd rather be that base hitter where you're just really consistent. You don't miss any games, and Ty Cobb or whoever had the record. But the point is, your LinkedIn profile, here we are, you're still consistently posting up and staying visible. And my question is with some of the writing you've done or anything, have you printed that out and made it part of your sales slick? Do you sometimes on a biz dev call, do you have a brochure? Do you have something that you leave behind, or do you stay more in the digital realm in biz dev?
No, I did have all of that. I had this sort of, lumpy mail wow kit that we used to use, and all that content is 5 years old right now. And,
Yeah, of course.
and I think, I love that stuff. And I think what you're asking is really helpful. It's not something that we have right now. I've been working on the new content. I mean, on this call, I was able to present a really, really refined security package flyer that we have now. And
okay,
that's fresh content. And I think, I work with the designer. I love going on Upwork and finding resources to work with there. And my favorite are my graphic design resources that I have on Upwork. And so, I'll go ahead and find some flyer I like somewhere, or I'll just literally write up a bunch of stuff with bullet points in a Word doc. And, usually it takes us about 3 revisions, and like, she's got my brand down. She's got my colors down. She's got the whole thing. And it's nice when you're presenting, some sort of solution, especially to a slick modern startup, to say, look, these are the packages. This is how they work. And so, my leave behind kit will come back together.
Yeah. And there'll also be in-person meetings. Hey, with the time we have left, so you had a Microsoft update. Talk to me.
So I've been chasing this problem for a couple months. I had anyone out there who hasn't seen it, there's a guy named Alex Fields.
Yeah. He's one of our analysts. Oh, yeah.
So I bought Alex Fields' kit for
Sure.
365 expertise, and he includes some Intune JSON files that you can import to Intune to set up a bunch of baseline policies. They all come into Intune unassigned, and they'll cause no problems in that state. But I assigned his enhanced security baseline to my whole company. And it includes, I think it's app locker policies or some kind of software restriction policies, so you can't install anything without expressly allowing it. And I was like, oh, this was too much for my company. So what did I do? Before unassigning it, I deleted it from my tenant. I then spent 2 months trying to figure out why I couldn't install any software once I signed into Intune. And I just got off a call with Microsoft engineer who explained to me something called a ghost policy, which is delete an Intune policy. These are device configuration profiles. If you delete a device configuration profile before unassigning it, it will remain locked to any users who had it. And so I was shown today a process for going through the Microsoft graph, confirming the existence of that, and then deleting it. I'm actually looking at my computer mid-reset right now, my test computer. And so you can all cross your fingers. I closed my big deal on Friday, and that when I reboot this thing, Intune installs my RMM, and we're in automation nirvana.
All right. Well, we'll check in with you next month. Hopefully we'll be popping champagne bottles and not drinking beer with getting that one across the finish line. But glad you're doing well and appreciate you sticking with us, ma'am.
Of course. Good to see you, Harry.